Fate Maybe by Beth O'Leary. Read by Claudia Jesse. I am not the single one. I'm Susie of Susie and Carlo. While my mates were spending their 20s having sexual adventures with strangers and leaving their knickers in peculiar places, I was the person making them coffee the next morning. My lovely boyfriend still snoozing in the IKEA bed we'd chosen together, giddy at our own adulthood. I only ever felt slightly envious of our cooler single friends. They teased Carlo for being whipped. They laughed at us for having his and hers mugs aged 25. But I was playing the long game. And when they were all tired of hangovers and rushing to find someone to procreate with before it was too late, then it would be my turn to be smug. And then Carlo left me. Now I am 28, and nobody is single anymore. Single is a thing they all did a few years ago. They wouldn't do it now. God, no. It was fun for a while, but they don't miss it. Over the last 6 months, I've tried recreating the 20s I never had. I took to Tinder with a sort of religious fervour. This app would be my salvation. Filled as it was with hot men just waiting to marry me. But after 5 dates, I faced the truth that Tinder is to romance what the bread machine is to the art of bread making. It makes love a numbers game. There's no happenstance, no spontaneity, no twists of fate. I am explaining this at length to my flatmates Hina and Will, a couple, naturally, as we clean up after dinner, passing plates and rejigging each other's attempts to fill the dishwasher. Hina puts a Hallmark movie on the telly. On screen, the heroine trips, throwing her coffee over a handsome man who happens to be in her path. See? I say, waving a knife and fork towards the screen. That's what I want. All these women in romantic comedies get so lucky. Everyone they spill coffee on is so eligible. I've only ever spilled coffee on myself. You're very eligible, Hina points out, ever supportive. I make a face. I know I said I was excited to be single, but I lied, Hina. I'm not built for singlehood. I'm like a sock. She blinks at me, rubber gloves hovering above the dishwater. Sorry. I belong in a pear, I explain as I scrape strings of gravy from a plate into the bin. On my own, I'm that sad sock at the back of the drawer that you can't quite bring yourself to throw away. You've just got to embrace the odd sock approach, Will says, straightening up from where he's been wiping down the dining table. He hoiks up his left trouser leg, then his right. See? If you stop trying to pair your socks, the possibilities are infinite. Hina narrows her eyes at him. If socks are still a metaphor for relationships right now, then you and I need to have a chat about how this monogamy thing works. Will laughs. Ah, metaphors, he yelps, in the same tone in which he tends to shout, ah, spider. Hina grins. You know what my mum says, Susie? She asks, returning her gaze to the heroine on screen, who is now frantically dabbing at the chiselled chest of her coffee-stained companion. She says, you make your own luck. I frown. How am I meant to do that? Well, she says, you're always staring at that hot guy in legal. You could try spilling your coffee on him sometime. I know exactly who Hina means. He's gorgeous, this guy. All rumpled black hair and quick lopsided smile. The sort of gorgeous that immediately makes me sweaty and awkward and incapable of conversation. He sits 6 rows of desks down from the two of us. Hina not only lives with me, but also shares a desk with me at work. We have no boundaries. It's probably quite unhealthy. Oh God, you mean like choose targets for meet cutes? I'm horrified, but also, if I'm honest, intrigued. Why not? The modern woman's approach to fate, right? Take it in your own hands. Come on, we need inspo. We end up watching rom-coms into the early hours, our socked feet tucked under a shared blanket. Will falls asleep 20 minutes in, but Hina is in action mode. She makes a list of meet cutes, the adorable ways that couples are thrown together in romantic comedies. By 2 a.m., the list is as follows, with my notes alongside. 1. Spilling coffee on them. Notes. Waste of coffee. Also, is this assault? 2. Dance off in club. Notes. Too old for clubs, can't dance. 3. Crashing cars with a hot guy. Notes. Risk of death and or expensive car repairs. 4. Both reach for last muffin at coffee shop. Notes. Relies on low stock of muffins at coffee shop. Can we engineer this without eating many, many muffins? 5. Stuck in a lift together. Notes. The crappy lift at work does stop every time there's a power cut. And Hina once made that happen when she plugged her hair straighteners in by her computer. And I do tend to arrive at work at the same time as that hot guy in legal. Is this the one? By 3 a.m., we have decided that the lift is indeed the one, and the plan for tomorrow is all set. I will make sure to enter the building at the same time as hot legal guy and jump in the lift with him, then message Hina so she can plug her hair straighteners in once the lift doors have closed. At 3 a.m., the plan feels foolproof. At 8 a.m. the next morning, as I scurry to follow hot legal guy into the building, I discover that the plan is not foolproof. I message Hina with an update as I cross the car park. Lizzo's Good as Hell blaring in my headphones, song 1 on my I Can Do This playlist. I'm a bit distracted, which is how I end up making the ultimate faux pas of stepping in to the same section of the revolving door as hot legal guy, instead of remembering that that's a weird invasion of personal space and really it should be one person per section. Meanwhile, Hina, it transpires, has forgotten a crucial element of the 3 a.m. plan, because as soon as she receives my message, she plugs in her straighteners, even though I did not specify that I was in the lift. The revolving doors stop immediately. I am thrown into the back of hot legal guy, who is thrown into the glass of the revolving door, hands flat. I let out a very unladylike oof as my handbag swings and whacks him in the kidney. Oh my God, I say, yanking off my headphones. I'm so sorry. Are you all right? I know what's happened right away. The revolving doors are as crappy as the lift. They also jam every time there is a power cut. It's all fairly obvious, though, of course, this potential hiccup did not occur to me at 3 a.m. It's stuck, hot legal guy says, pushing against the glass. As I step away from him, it becomes apparent that the awkwardness of sharing a revolving door cubicle when the door is moving is vastly outweighed by the awkwardness of sharing a revolving door cubicle when it is not moving. At least usually you're only cramped together for a matter of seconds. Hot legal guy has to perform an uncomfortable-looking pirouette to turn and face me without our bodies touching. I feel a zip of heat run through me as I lift my head to look at him, suddenly very aware of the mere inches between us. Hi, he says. How are you with enclosed spaces? Oh, fine, I say brightly, though this is a very small space. It's just a triangle of floor between 2 walls of glass. It is not nearly as roomy as a lift. People are beginning to stream through the regular doors on either side of us, the ones for people who very sensibly don't use revolving doors. Someone taps on the glass behind me, making me jump. You guys okay? They shout. We've called maintenance. You should be out of there in no time. Thanks, hot legal guy calls, breathing out slowly. We look at each other for a moment, both wide-eyed, our backs to the glass. I break eye contact first. I'm flustered. I try to rally. This isn't exactly how this was meant to go, but the gist is the same, really, and I am well prepared for a short stay in an enclosed space with this man. I swing my handbag awkwardly from my shoulder and root around inside. I guess we might as well settle in, I say, handing him a bottle of orange juice. It usually takes them at least half an hour to get the power back on. Or so I hear, I add, hurriedly, as I pull out a punnet of strawberries and a bar of chocolate. Hot legal guy looks slightly puzzled by my excellent provisions. I was, planning a picnic later, I say, blushing. Oh, well, thank you. He meets my eyes again, and I go a bit goose-pimply. We should have dubbed him Very Hot Legal Guy. His eyes are huge and dark, lined with long lashes. When he smiles, he has not 2 dimples, but 1, which is somehow much, much cuter. I'm Stephen, he says, holding out a hand for me to shake. And you're Susie. I was all geared up to say, I'm Susie, so this throws me. I end up saying, am I? Which is obviously hugely embarrassing. Yes, I say, flame red now, laughing. I am Susie. Hi. I fumble with the strawberry punnet to free a hand to shake his. We're a bit too close together for this. My elbow's tucked into my side like I'm using a knife and fork at a very cramped dinner table. Sorry, he says sheepishly. I've just seen you around and knew your name, and it just came out, possibly because I'm trapped in a really quite small space and everyone outside is watching us like we're in the zoo, and I'm a little stressed. I glance behind again. He's right. There's a small crowd of curious business people outside, their voices muffled through the glass. I turn away and sink down to floor level, settling cross-legged, resolutely ignoring our interested onlookers. I try to regain some composure. Come on down and have a strawberry, I say. He sinks down opposite me, resting his forearms on his knees. He's attempting to give me space, but it's impossible. One of his shins is pressed against mine. I can feel the heat creeping up my cheeks. This is, I'm expecting him to say awkward, maybe, or cozy. This is kind of perfect, he says instead. I look up and catch his wide-eyed expression as he clocks the weirdness of what he's just said. God, I'm sorry, I just meant... Obviously, this is totally claustrophobic and not ideal at all. It's just... He fumbles around for a strawberry from the punnet. I'm completely charmed by his blustering, combined with his extreme handsomeness. It is almost unbearably cute. He takes a breath. It's just, I've wanted to ask you out for a drink for ages, but you're always with Hina or someone, and I don't really know how to, get you on your own, if that doesn't sound incredibly creepy. So, yeah, this is kind of perfect. He laughs embarrassedly. Fate, maybe. I stare at him, disbelieving, but it appears he is not joking. Can I call this making my own luck? I'm not sure. After all, it's not gone entirely to plan. But, I think, as our hands brush over the strawberry punnet, I'm not giving fate all the credit for this one either.